I do want to bring in our guest here. He's the Iowa State Auditor. He was a former assistant attorney general when he investigated one of the largest lottery ticket scams that's ever been recorded. Rob Sand, do people call you Auditor Sand? How do we address you, sir?
You can call me anything you want as long as you don't call me late for dinner. Ha ha.
Okay, good looking. I see the Iowa sense of humor is coming correct. This is great.
That's right. Which, it's simple, but it's classic.
I have to say, for those that are listening on the podcast, Rob is a young-looking man. He looks very youthful.
I have
chiseled chin. You are not 40. You are going to tell me you're 40?
Auditor,
wow.
When you said auditor, I expected an old man to show up. So I actually did not expect this side swooped bang type gentleman to show up on this.
I will say he can't get his phone to properly sit up there, which does say
so he's
scream
40.
40. It does scream 40. Yeah, it does scream 40.
Little auditory. Do you guys need me to be
it is
vertical,
a live video.
It does not mode. Doesn't matter.
It does not. Whatever gets you still and you can feel comfortable with it. Feel free to take your time, though. But I do have to say, chat, I mean, this is, I think in America, we have, I don't want to objectify you, sir, but you are the best looking auditor in America. Can we say that?
Wow.
Might be true. Might be true.
Mm-hmm. I'll not comment on that.
He hasn't met all the auditors.
Yeah. How many auditors are out there?
So many.
Fair question. There's like only 15 state auditors. There's comptrollers in other states, treasurers in other states. So it's a small list.
Can you actually tell us what is the job scope for the Iowa State Auditor? What is your purview?
Yeah, we do financial statement audits and public corruption investigations. And then since I started the job, efficiency promotion, trying to help save taxpayer money.
I love how you went from financial statements and then public corruption. That went from the most boring possible thing I could ever imagine looking at to all right, this is pretty cool. We're going after public corruption. And so is this do you have arresting authority like a attorney general would, or no, you refer that to that office?
That's right. Not in the state of Iowa. I think in Mississippi, their state auditor has arresting authority. We do not. And so we will work with the FBI or the county attorney or the county sheriff or the Division of Criminal Investigation, State Police. They work with us.
Imagine getting arrested in Mississippi by an auditor. He just slaps cuffs on you for your shitty financial statement. That's what
pretty much.
Rob, tell us, you stumbled upon this case when you were an assistant attorney general. How far out of law school were you? You obviously had passed the bar by this point. Was this one of your first gigs? How long were you already practicing before you got the job? And this was the Iowa assistant attorney general, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I did in fact get that case in part because I was young. The case of the largest lottery rigging scheme in American history had been kind of a joke in the office. And then when my boss retired, it was like a parting gift. And I was like, screw you. Thanks. This is great.
Wait a minute. How did it become a joke? Was it just no one wanted to solve it? What is the joke?
It really, well, we didn't know that there was a crime involved. It was basically, here's what we knew at that point. Somebody had bought a lottery ticket worth $16 million.
Okay.
They had tried to claim it at the very last minute, had tried to claim it through a trust from the country of Belize, a little fishy. And then they decided they didn't want to when the Iowa lottery said, hey, we want to know who bought this ticket and everyone who possessed it. They said, never mind, we're out. And so it was kind of curious, whose anonymity is worth $16 million to them, right? So it was an interesting case, but we didn't know it was going to turn out to be multiple lotteries being rigged by an insider.
So wait, before we get to the multiple ones, this first one, and by the way, going through Belize makes me think of John McAfee. So I don't know if he was involved in somehow. That would be incredible.
That guy. I remember that guy.
He
was thankfully not involved. I I do not want any involvement with John McAfee. Very grateful he was not involved in this one. Yeah, that's a good point.
With the anonymity part of it, and you kind of are like, because you have to find a crime to investigate, right? So what was the potential, like, if you saw that happen, is there's not a public service interest, presumably, because the money doesn't leave. It stays in the coffers, doesn't it?
He did not get the $16 million. Yeah. But we're trying to figure out, it's like, okay, what's going on here? And the kind of the joke in the office was, not that it's funny, but among prosecutors, dark humor is what helps you get through the day. It's going to turn out that somebody murdered somebody for this lottery ticket. And that's why they didn't want us to claim it.
Oh, right.
Which that wasn't the case, but it was kind of like, all right, what's going on here? It's pretty weird that somebody would give up $16 million just in order to stay anonymous. We should figure this out. But it kind of like lingered around, and then my boss retires and he's like, hey, happy birthday. I'm like, great. Thanks.
Did he really say happy birthday though?
I actually think he did. I really think he did. It wasn't my birthday. It was just, and because he knew this was effectively a pain in the butt. But he also said, I know we all like to joke about this case. It doesn't seem like it's going anywhere, but I'm giving it to you because you're the only one who can't say no, but also because I trust you to do what you need to do to put the case to bed, knowing that there wasn't anything else to do. Because we didn't think it was going to result in charges getting filed. It was just going to result in, like doing the investigation and being like, well, nothing there. Okay.
Tell me, compared to your other cases, your assistant attorney general, what other kind of cases are you working on? Murders, drug deals?
I was doing most of the public corruption prosecution in Iowa. So I was very much accustomed to financial crimes. I'd also done, murder, sexual assault, about 24 sexually violent predator civil commitment cases, which are really awful, but kind of a pretty good mix of all kinds of stuff.
Okay, so tell me, what is your first step in being like, all right, it's like Monday, you had a good time over the weekend, you show up, you're like, okay, this is my week now. I have to figure out how to find who doesn't want this $16 million.
Right. The bottom line, to make a long story short, and for those who want the long version, I actually wrote a book about it. The winning ticket that was awarded, named a favorite book of 2022 by the Washington Independent Review of Books. So there you go.
There you go.
But the relatively short version is, we said, look, we have this video of the purchaser, right? So we know there's a tape of the guy who bought the ticket, and it's never been released to the public. And that's just kind of one of those it had been very useful to keep it private, because anyone who looked like the three of you that I'm looking at right now, if you walked in and you were like, hey, I bought that $16 million ticket, we'd look at the video and we'd look at you and we'd look at the video and be like, nah, no, you didn't. Go on. Thank you. Bye. But releasing it was really one of those last ditch sort of like, hey, maybe somebody's going to call in and say, oh my gosh, I recognize that person. And you never know. And that's what happened. So you'll appreciate this. We released the video and we asked people to submit their tips via SurveyMonkey.
What? This is I was using SurveyMonkey. What's your?
Hey, it's free.
Yeah, I was going to ask, it's got $12 budget over at Iowa. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's all they have. That's all the money in the world.
Have you heard about NFTs though, Auditor?
Yeah. Seena wants to invest in this SurveyMonkey.
Yes.
My experience with NFTs is limited to this. Someone showed me their NFT, and then I took a screenshot of it and was like, "It's my NFT now."
Yeah, there you go. Listen, you can have my 3 apes as well. I got scammed.
Seena has 3.
Yeah,
I have 3 of these things.
Exactly.
All right. So people sent in tips on SurveyMonkey. Obviously, a lot of people probably trolled the SurveyMonkey, I'm sure. What was the response like? Did it help you in the investigation? And potentially, do you remember the funniest SurveyMonkey response that you got?
I do not remember the funniest one. Remember, I'm an auditor. I'm not looking for jokes, guys.
But maybe you could spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, make something up.
I do remember, though, the one that really stuck out. It was this guy from the state of Maine, not bordering Iowa, for those of you who are slightly less familiar with your American geography. We're half a country apart. But this guy in the state of Maine who works for the Maine lottery says, I know that voice. That's Eddie Tipton. He works for the Multi-State Lottery Association, and he has come out to the state of Maine twice to help me with security issues here. And we're like, oh, that's interesting, because if you work for the Multi-State Lottery Association, you're not supposed to buy lottery tickets. You might think your anonymity is worth $16 million.
I see. So the guy in the video was Eddie Tipton, and someone in Maine, because they're probably tapped into what's happening in the lottery space, and they looked and they said, hey, I know this guy. And presumably he's a trustworthy person, but all of a sudden it gets it's a scammy red flag when you're self-dealing, if you will, almost.
Well, it sounds like a hater to me, to be honest. That sounds like a hater. Oh, I recognize that voice anywhere. What? Just let that alone. Damn. Let him cook.
Which, and maybe we would have said that if he was the only person that said, oh, that's Eddie. But no, there were like 3 people, which in that case, if it's just a hater, it's like 3 haters. This guy must deserve to get hated on.
Everyone hates this.
This guy sucks.
Yeah,
we should just charge him anyway.
Yeah.
No, we don't do that. We don't do that. Joke. That's a joke.
This guy sucks.
So tell us then, you get this tip, and this has got to make your week. You have a lead after how many years?
Yes.
This is the first. How many years was it?
I mean, I at that point, I had the case for a year and a half. But the case was closing in on 3 years old.
Oh my God! 3 years, first lead. 3 people are saying it's Eddie Tipton. What's your next move?
To go interview Eddie Tipton.
Wow! And what was he like? Describe him for me.
He's a big dude, very low, gravelly voice. What's interesting in the video, people didn't recognize him because of the visual. They recognized the sound of his voice. All 3 people were like, "That's Eddie's voice." Big dude from a small town in Texas, friendly guy, got along well with his coworkers. People like him. Guys, I liked him. Like, I got along better with him as a defendant and me with the prosecutor, he with him as the defendant. I got along better with him than I did with anyone else I've ever prosecuted.
We hear this all the time on our show. With a very charismatic,
super nice guy. We charge these crimes. Yeah.
People can't possibly believe that this
Eddie
person
wouldn't do that.
is a fraudster. Yes.
They knew Eddie was doing that. All 3 of those people knew Eddie was a fraudster. They hated Eddie. They were tired of Eddie's shit at that point.
Multi-state lottery. Oh my God. So did he backpedal? Was he...
He was like, hey, I wasn't even in town on the day that ticket was purchased. I was down in Houston with family because he's from the Houston area. Now, what was interesting about that was, the guy that claimed the lottery ticket on behalf of that trust from Belize, we had done a little cooperation agreement with him. We were like, you need to tell us everything you know, or we're going to charge you for your false statements. He's like, all right. Look, I got it from these 2 guys down in Houston, Texas. As soon as Eddie says he got this and he was in Texas and he's from Texas, Houston, we're like, oh, that's very interesting because that's where this ticket came from before the last person. What are the odds? What are the odds that this ticket would end up from Iowa, where you live and work, down to Texas, where your family is from, and then go to Texas to this guy with his trust from Belize? Very interesting. And again, long story short, the book's The Winning Ticket if you want the whole thing, but he said a couple of things that his credit card statement and phone records proved otherwise in that interview. And so we're like, all right, well, here's our man. Let's indict him. And we indicted him because speedy trial. Speedy trial is a very real thing in Iowa. You guys are probably familiar with your constitutional right when you're indicted to have trial within a year. In Iowa, you can have it in 90 days.
Wow.
Yeah. And so he demanded speedy trial, which was really smart because kept us moving. We had to investigate that thing very quickly and get ready for trial while we were working on the investigation. We get ready to go to trial. 90 days out, we're like in the courtroom. We're ready. Our tipster from the Maine lottery is going to be our first witness. He's there, and Eddie's lawyer tries to keep out a bunch of the evidence. We're like, we need this evidence. We provided it to you. He's like, you didn't give it to me fast enough. We're like, we're working as fast as we can here. Judge says the evidence is coming in, and so Eddie's attorney at that point says, okay, well, then I want to postpone trial. So he gets it postponed. but only for another 90 days. And then he reasserts his right to speedy trial within 90 days. So guys, what he's doing here is making sure we don't have much time to investigate, right? He's giving us as little time as possible.
Classic move of an innocent man.
Classic move of an innocent man who doesn't want you to discover the other similar crimes to the one with which he's been charged, right?
So there's more crimes that this man did. Tell us. So you got this guy dead to rights, but now he realizes.
No, Seena, I gotta say, we don't. We don't. So we go to trial on this one. There is a CBS This Morning nationwide broadcast that says, we think the defendant has a pretty powerful argument for a reasonable doubt here because we didn't have the electronic evidence of precisely what he did with the computer to rig the jackpot. So we're going to trial. Honestly, I mean, we're going to trial because he wouldn't agree in a plea agreement to sit down and answer all of our questions, which was smart of him because there were so many other jackpots we hadn't found yet. And he knew we're going to ask him, or anything else happen here that we should know about? And he didn't want to lie under oath and get charged with perjury. So he wouldn't plead. And so we're going to trial. And I'm like, all right, well, I think I can win this. But national media didn't think so. We won it. We got 2 guilty verdicts. And then while we're waiting for sentencing, I get this call from his home area code in Texas. So I pick it up, and this guy's like, "Did y'all know that Eddie Tipton's brother won the lottery maybe about 10 years ago out west somewhere?" What? Yeah, and we're like, no, we didn't know that. Thank you. What more can you tell us? Damn,
they hate Eddie. They hate him. He has stiffed so many people. He's made so many enemies. That has to be what it is. Because ain't no way.
I think he was just quietly scamming. People didn't really know. They just whoever this tipster saw the news of the trial in Iowa after he got convicted. Hadn't seen any headlines until after the conviction, and then he's like, "Huh," and decides to call us, which is a great moment. If you see something, say something. So if 15 years ago somebody told you won the lottery, and then 15 years later their brother is indicted for rigging the lottery,
oh my God!
If you see something, say something.
No, I have reason to believe they wanted Eddie Tipton away. I have reason to believe he pissed people off. And, I'm not. If I see someone that has always been cool to me, and they win the lottery, and their brother wins the lottery, I'm gonna just be like, "Oh, that's great, good for them."
Wow, what a coincidence!
Not what a coincidence. Let me call the hotline and get him jailed. I'm not doing that. Well, I'm saying I have reason to believe he has fucked people over, and they're like, I'm gonna call this hotline and make sure he goes to jail for a long time.
Yeah, maybe. So wait, this guy, and that's what I love about this story is that this got so much crazier once you got beyond Eddie Tipton because apparently Bigfoot got involved.
I mean, not Bigfoot. Him or herself, but Bigfoot hunters to audit your statement there and be super, super clear about that.
There's a hint of Bigfoot denial coming across here, Rob. And I tell you what, I don't know if I care for it.
Look, I got elected to tell people the truth. There is no Bigfoot. All right.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Not very Iowa of you to believe that Bigfoot is not real, actually.
Classic Iowa Auditor.
Guilty.
Where are you really from?
Yeah.
All right. So these guys were Bigfoot hunters and lottery scammers. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. So Eddie himself was not a Bigfoot hunter, but his brother, who helped him win a few of the jackpots, was, and so was one of his brother's buddies who helped him claim. Actually, 2 of his brother's buddies who helped him claim jackpot tickets were friends that his brother knew because they all hunt Bigfoot together. As people do.
As one does, yeah.
Oh, okay. So now to go back to your theory, I'm sorry, we didn't get to do much intro because this is last minute. Is it Ariel?
It's Ariel, yeah.
Ariel, yep. All right. So to go back to Ariel's theory about somebody hating on somebody, that is very true at this point in the story. Because when we get this tip about this lottery out west somewhere, the guy who tells us this is like, look, I don't remember a lot of the specifics. I can't tell you what state, but I can tell you who can. You need to call this FBI agent, Richard Renison. And so we call up Richard Renison, and Richard Renison, I'm like, I'm calling you. I call him up. I'm like, I'm calling you because I just prosecuted a guy from Texas for rigging the lottery. And they said, you know, his brother who says he won a lottery ticket like 10 years earlier. And he's like, you're talking about my Bigfoot case. I'm like, no, sir. This is about the lottery, like a jackpot where you win a lot of money. And he's like, yeah, I know. That's my Bigfoot case. And I'm sure he can tell by my silence on the telephone. He just needed to start explaining. And so he's like, let me explain. I'm like, please. And so he goes in to tell this story. Years earlier, a fireworks dealer in Texas came into the FBI office. He's like, listen, there's a justice of the peace who wants to trade his many, many, many consecutively marked US dollar bills for my random chunks of cash from my fireworks business. You guys probably should investigate. The FBI says, yes, we should. Thank you very much. And so they investigate. And this someone is Eddie's brother, Tommy Tipton. And what it comes down to at the end of the day is Richard, he gets Tommy's story. And Tommy's story is, look, man, my wife and I are on the outs. I don't want her to know about the jackpot win. I won this money in the jackpot, but I don't want her to know because if we get a divorce, I want to share it with her. And so I paid my buddy Alexander Hicks, who hunts Bigfoot with me. I gave him 10% of the claim for him to go claim it instead. And the FBI agent looks it up and he's like, yep, there's an Alexander Hicks who claimed a Colorado jackpot. Story is clear. It's really weird that you're doing this to hide money from your wife, but it is a lottery win. So, okay. And so Richard Renison is really...
I could hand a ticket to someone and they could claim it and they could give me a portion or whatever. And that's legal, right?
I'm not encouraging you to do that. I'm not encouraging you to do that. That would depend on the state.
But is it illegal?
It would depend on the state where you are doing it.
Okay. All right.
I'm writing this
down.
But
but it's not a federal crime. It's not money laundering. It's not drug money, right?
Hey, that's all you had to say. That's all you had to say, friend. That's all you had to say.
And so, yeah, exactly. Renison is like, okay, good. I'll go work on real crimes since you're just a weirdo who's trying to hide money from your wife that you might divorce soon, whatever. The amazing, so to your point, when I call up Richard Renison, he becomes the most motivated helper we could have in this case, because that is the point at which he realized that guy 10, 15 years ago lied to my face and fooled me. And now I'm mad.
Oh,
that's it.
And when Renison interviewed Tommy Tipton, I'm not kidding you, Tommy was in a hospital bed because he had fallen out of a tree and broken his legs while Bigfoot hunting.
Both legs.
Both legs.
Incredible. What a guy.
What the?
Supposedly, hold on. If I know anything about people who collect money, they want to break some legs. Maybe that's what happened to Tommy Tipton. Or maybe Bigfoot finally got him. I have a lot of theories.
What if we're wrong about this whole thing? My book could be completely wrong.
Could be.
What if Bigfoot was behind all these rigged jackpots?
There we go. Now we're talking, Auditor Sand. I like it. But this, you know what this feels like? This feels like the sequel to like a Coen Brothers movie, like Raising Arizona Part 2, where it's just, this is the Bigfoot hunter. He's falling out of trees. He's breaking legs. There's people in all kinds of different places. Wow. And so, how much time did this guy get? It looks like he got, up to 5 years?
He served a little under 5. Our mastermind, Eddie, did, but he's still got his Wisconsin sentence for the Wisconsin jackpot hanging over his head. So he needs to be a good boy and get that money repaid.
Oh my God, he probably bought a bunch of NFTs with that money, and that shit is gone.
Or crypto.
You know how much Bigfoot gear you could purchase?
Oh my God,
if you had that much money, you could probably actually finally find Bigfoot.
Sure.
I guess, Rob, that seemed so amazing. Why not run for attorney general? Why become an auditor? You got great stories.
In Iowa, I mean, number one, I would have had to run against my boss, who was a pretty good guy.
Okay.
Like the AG. I liked him. But also number two, so the auditor's office does the public corruption investigations in Iowa. I had been working with them as the public corruption prosecutor in Iowa. I like the people I work with. I like the work they did. And here's the big piece of this, guys. The auditor's office, their job is to go after people in positions of trust and power.
Yeah.
I like doing that. The AG in their job being sometimes representing state government, they are defending people in positions of trust and power sometimes, which I don't really want to do. So that was it.
Okay.
Hell yeah. No, we need
Yeah.
you now more than ever. In fact, I have a different Iowa target. If you could put him on your list for me, a man named Chuck Grassley. I think this guy, I think his time is limited in public office, but let's get him before he's gone.
His time may be limited in public office, but all of our days are limited, Travis. So what can you really say? And once you've reached the ripe age of 80, whatever he is, 88,000, it's even more true.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's 95. I'm going to go with that.
Yeah.
I think he will be at the end of this current term that he just got reelected to, 95 years old.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Honestly,
he's old. He's older than Bigfoot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, get Bigfoot in there. Rob Sand, auditor of Iowa. The book is called The Winning Ticket. It was the favorite book of 2022 by the Washington Independent Review of Books. Go get it. It's what an incredible story. Frankly, I think this is something we should probably cover in depth on the show as well. This was so fun. I can't believe all the twists and turns that were happening here. So right when you think, okay, we're going to wrap this up, it's like, oh, no, Bigfoot. And so we always appreciate
We just scratched the surface.
Oh, my God. This is crazy.
Yeah. Read the book, guys.
Rob, thank you so much for being on Fraudwire. I really appreciate it.
Happy to be here.
We'll talk to you soon.
All
And
right.
everyone else in the chat, we've got a couple minutes left. If you would like to pop in your scam story or anything like that, or if you want some scam advice from Ariel, or if you have, a weird man sleeping on your couch, message us and Ariel will give you some advice.
Don't be like me.
Don't
is the advice.
do it. Travis, what are you working on right now?
Well, check out Top Hat for all your weekly political news needs. And beyond that, I'm just looking for someone to help me settle this debt for the $60,000 hat I acquired 10 years ago. So I'm like you, Seena. I really thought, I was like, I'll get these paid off in like 5-10 years. And then I did not. So here we are.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely thought it was gonna be quick. Like I would get a couple writing jobs, stand up with Pop-Off, and boom, boom. No, it's a slow bleed.
Still got the hat. That's all I got. It's a hat. That's all I got.
But you also have education, which is priceless.
That's true. And I'm very glad. I mean, I'm an Ivy Leaguer. I snuck in. It was a 10-month program. Can't afford a car, but got this cool hat and and landed on my feet at Last Podcast Network. So we're doing good.
Ariel, are you getting up anytime soon that you want to tell people about?
We got a show April 27th in Jersey City at the Jersey City Loft. Me and Gordon. It's a show called Culture Vultures. It's very fun, festive, and I host that. It's going to be a good time. Come through April 27th, 8 p.m.
And
or
Ariel,
just follow me on Instagram or Twitter because I post about it.
Exactly. So follow Ariel Leaty on Instagram, on Twitter. Travis, what's your handle? Tell us your social media. Is it just Travis Irvine?
Travis Irvine USA. All the other Travis Irvines are Canadian.
Oh,
that's when I was doing my social media diligence 10 years ago, that's what I found out. So a lot of good baseball and hockey players named Travis Irvine. I am not any of them. I am Travis Irvine USA.
And we'll be back next week. Ariel will be hosting the IG Live, which is like a quick Fraudwire we're doing on these off weeks. And we're, of course, getting ready for season 4 of Fraudsters, which I'm so excited about. We've got amazing people. We're getting up to time now, so I don't want to go and belabor it too much. But we'll be back in a couple weeks with another Fraudwire. We'll probably talk more about this Trump indictment, and we'll probably get some more updates on what's happening with Yay.
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 What an absolute idiot I am. This has been wonderful.
It's okay.
I'm at Seena now. If you want to DM me and just briefly tell me about the mistakes I've made in my life, I would love to hear from you. I could use the engagement metrics. All right. This has been Fraudwire. I'm Seena Ghaznavi, Ariel Leaty, Travis Irvine. Thank you so much for sticking around the entire hour, man. That was awesome.
Thanks so much. I'm going to go get some gas station sushi.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to not get a gas station pizza slice. All right. Thank you, everyone in the chat. I think you guys are great as well. We'll see you next time.